This conference will now be.
Okay, hope you able to hear me, guys. Um,
Hello, Satish, can you hear?
okay, able to hear me right now?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay, great. Okay, fine, guys. Okay, so what we will do today is before going to the mainstream sessions, right? Just for few of you to um, understand the way the teaching would be done, I'll just take some one random topic and then go over for next 30 minutes, um, so that it could be helpful for you to understand how this is going to be done over the course of the this batch. Okay, so as per the plan, if you see, let me go to the sessions. So we would have to start from the Java basics, right? That is a plan from for the course. But I'll just take a random topic and go over for the next 30 minutes. And over the weekend, next 2 days, you make sure that you go and set up your mission for the Eclipse, your Java, your Tomcat, all these things. So from Monday, we'll get into the mainstream sessions. Okay, and yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just take one random topic of Java threads, and we'll go and see what are the how the threads are created, what are the various states of thread, and how the thread configuration is done, and then what is that something you will be monitoring it during the load test, what are the various thread contentions. So we'll just go over these at a high level today. Let me go here. Okay, I'll just give a simple example so that you won't forget the concept behind this. Okay, um, this is to illustrate how the threads are handled in your system, right? See, thread is nothing but a you can assume that it's a task handler. Okay, you have a lot of requests coming from your browser, and your server has to process it and send the response back, right? And there are going to be multiple concurrent requests that is going to come into the server. So for each request, there has to be a handler. There has to somebody has to uh, um, listen to that, receive it, and then process it, and then send the response back, right? So you just assume that thread is nothing but a task handler, right? So it is going to handle the task, one task at a time, and then once the response is sent back, the thread is going to get randomly assigned to a different task, right? So I'm just going to compare that with the way your Swiggy delivery operates, right? So if you typically see when you're going to order any food in your delivery app, right? There are going to be, see, there are two parties, right? One is the your restaurant, second is you, and in between there are multiple Swiggy delivery persons who are going to be somewhere near to the restaurant, near to that area. They'll be placed, right? So some point of time they would be just idle in a parking lot, maybe, right? Once you place a request, um, one of the Swiggy delivery person will get assigned with an work. Okay, and then he'll go to the restaurant, he'll wait there until a response comes from the restaurant saying that food is delivered, food is ready, and then they will collect it, and then they will hand it over to your home. And round robin, these request, whoever is going to place food request, the available person will get assigned, and then you will do the same routine job, right? So sometimes you will be, sometimes everybody will be busy, sometimes everybody will be idle, and then depending upon who is available, the request will get assigned and you will deliver it. That's how it works. And sometimes what happens is there will be a peak period. The peak period could be morning, say 8 to 9, or evening 7 to 9, right? So what happens is Swiggy, the way you would have handled this peak period is in the maybe the morning and in the late evening, you would appoint more people, right? Say 10 people in that area. In the morning and the afternoon, right? They might have just 4 or 5 people. So they handle this traffic depending upon the pattern they observe. They will deploy more people in the peak hour and less people in the off peak hours. Okay, so when you now compare that with the way thread is going to operate, pretty much similar, not exactly same, definitely. So your threads are going to get created when a server starts. Okay, when a server starts, when a JVM starts, your threads are going to get started, and thread is going to just keep waiting or idle or in a parking mode until the request is going to come. Right? When multiple people are going to access your application, the threads are going to get assigned in a round robin again, and each thread is going to wait for the execution to complete it, and once the execution is completed, it is going to send the response back to your browser, right? So which means thread can be initially idle, every thread can go busy, and as thread gets freed up, it will get assigned with the work. Okay, and to handle the peak hours, right? Here also it is something similar. There is a max, there is a min. Right? Say the min could be 50, max could be 100 thread that you configure. Right? So what happens is in when JVM starts, only the minimum threads will get started. Okay, say only 50 will get started, and then as the traffic increases, if the thread utilization is very high, the server will try to create more threads from 50 to 60, 60 to 70 up to 100. Okay, so the server will also handle it in a similar way, but here the flexibility is it can be within a couple of minutes, it can spin up additional threads if it is required. Right? So you have a min, you have a max. Initially, only the whatever the number you give as a min, that will get started, and then as it gets more and more load, if your threads are busy, then it will probably spin up additional threads from 50 to 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, maximum 100. And again, when the threads are going to be idle, after some time, the traffic is not that much. Automatically, the additional threads are going to get terminated. Right? Terminated, which means it can go from 100 to again 90, 80, 70, 60, up to 50. It will never go less than 50. It will never go above 100 because that is the configuration what you have in your server. Okay, so which means thread will get created, thread will get terminated. In between, it might be in idle state, parking state, it will be running, it will be waiting. All these states are going to be possible. Here the terminology might be different from tool to tool, maybe, right? New is new, just created, terminated is terminated, running is, yes, it is running actively. Runnable is, it can run. Now it is in idle or in a parking. It is about to, it can take up work. It means is what runnable means. Runnable, parking, idle is all pretty much same. Running is running, it is doing work. In between, you can also go to the waiting state. Waiting is little tricky. Right? Waiting is, it is assigned with a task, but it is waiting for something. Waiting can be a timed waiting. Maybe in the code they have put thread of sleep, so it might be in the sleeping or timed waiting, or it can be because of a blocked thread. Right? a thread can go into a blocked state. Because of which also it will be termed as a waiting. Okay, waiting can be 2 or 3 category, but one of the category which is going to impact the performance is going to be your thread lock or thread blocked state. Okay, we'll be looking into all these things in detail later, but for your understanding, this is the various thread states. What I will do is I'll go to the Tomcat. Will show that visually how the threads are started and destroyed. Just give me a couple of seconds. So if I go to my Tomcat, okay, and go to the configuration file and go to the server.xml. Okay, if you see here, the minimum thread is 3, maximum is 6, right? I'll probably change it to say 4 and 7. Okay, now I'll go and kill the Tomcat. Okay, and I'll start the Tomcat. So if you see here, the war file is deployed. Okay, now what I will do is close this. I'll open the JVisual VM as well. The Visual VM, these tools like Visual VM, you can download it directly, or it is there in my Google Drive as well. Okay, J console and Visual VM, both is something you can use it for monitoring your Java app. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to select this Tomcat and then go to the threads. Okay, so in the thread, if you see, this 8083 executor 1, executor 2, executor 3, executor 4. This is the 4 threads. The configuration, whatever we gave it in the your server XMLs, minimum thread is 4. Right. So only 4 thread got created, and if you see, all 4 are now in the orange state. Orange is, you see in the bottom, it says park. A parking is nothing but runnable or idle. Okay, so now it is in parking state, which means there is no task assigned and it is ready to take the task. Okay, now what I will do is I'll just go and do some transactions. If I go and see now, right, your if you see the in between, there is orange, there is a green, there is orange, green and gray, right? It is moving between parking, it is moving to green running, it is moving to sleeping, and after some time, everything will be again orange because I have stopped the execution, right? So login is completed. I'm not doing any other transactions. So all thread is now again going back to the idle state. What I'll do is I'll just open my small Jmeter script so that it can continue to do something. So this script is for this e-library application. We'll just have a login, view librarian, and a logout. Jmeter is still opening, I guess so. Yeah. Okay, I'll go and open. Don't get confused with the name thread here in Jmeter. This is totally different concept in your Jmeter. Okay, don't get confused with that thread and this thread. Okay, this is nothing but your script. Okay, in that you have a home page, you have a login, you have the view librarian. Okay, just comment out this view librarian. We'll just go with the home page and login. I'll just give, say, 2 users. Okay, and I'm going to run it. Okay, now if you come here, okay, so we will see that out of these 4 threads, 2 will get assigned with task randomly. See, now executor 4 has picked the work, executor 1 has picked the work, and executor 4 is now going to sleeping, executor 1 is going to into a sleeping, and then again executor 3 now got the work, executor 1 got the work. Since the 2 concurrent users are doing home page login, home page login, randomly you will see that from 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 of the threads will get work assigned. Now again executor 4 is in running state, other 3 threads are in parking. Now executor 2 also got into running mode. So that's how randomly threads are going to get assigned. Now if I stop the test and then I'll give 10 users, okay, and start the test. Now you will see what will happen is after few seconds you will see 4 threads will become busy. All 4 will doing a task. So your server will give you additional threads. See, now all 4 are in the green or in sleeping, doing some work, right? So what will happen is now see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All threads are 7 are created, and all 7 will be doing. All are in green or gray. It never it will be go into a parking state. Everything will be doing some kind of running or sleeping or a running or a sleeping. That's what it will do. And there is in between there is also a small monitor, light purple color, not a purple, light blue, you can think, right? Executor 2 and executor 4 in a blocked state also. Okay, monitor here is nothing but a blocked state or locked state. Okay, we'll go into that blocked state, why the threads are getting blocked, how to take a thread dump, all these things we'll look into it later. Okay, now 7 threads are from 4 threads, 7 threads are created now. Additional 3 threads are created because in the configuration you've given it as max as 7. Okay, now I'll go and stop the test. Okay, so after a few seconds, what you will see is, since threads are in idle mode, server will automatically, it will terminate the three of the threads. Randomly, it will go and kill the three threads. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. Everything is going to into a parking mode, into idle mode. Okay, after a few seconds, you will see that three threads getting killed. It might take few more seconds. It will just keep watching whether the any load is coming. If not, it will go and kill. Let's just give a few more seconds. Yeah, I think one is already gone. There's only 6. And now other is also gone. You have only 4. 1, 2, 4, 6. Right. So what you are given is only 4. Right. Minimum is 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4 threads are there. That's how the even in the real time, when you give 100 or 150 or 200, whatever you give it at the initial stage, it will get started, and then um, depending upon the traffic, it will increase, and depending upon the traffic, it will come down. Okay, the max is more towards handling the peak load. See, throughout the day, you will not have peak traffic, right? Only maybe in the morning or evening you will have it. So unnecessarily, if you're going to have the additional threads in the thread pool, it is going to unnecessarily consume CPU. Even if it is going to be idle, there will be some level of CPU that will get used. So to avoid the unnecessary usage of the CPU, you will you should never go and give the min and max as same. Okay, see, in case if your traffic is very flat throughout the day you see that the traffic is going to be consistent, right? Then there is no meaning in giving a low value to min and high value to max. Not required, right? In that time, you can just go and give min and max as same. But when you see that your application is going to have very traffic in the morning, evening, and night, most of the time in the night you won't have much traffic, right? So in order to preserve your CPU time, it is always good to go and give your min and max. Okay, and from a configuration perspective, what is that value you have to give for your thread, your heap, and how it is you have to benchmark your JVM. It's a big exercise, right? The JVM benchmarking topic we will learn when we complete your response time optimization, server-side profiling, leak analysis, and then thread analysis. Then we will come here to the JVM benchmarking. JVM benchmarking is to derive your single instance configuration for a 8 gig RAM 4 CPU mission. What is the ideal value that you should give for a heap, for a thread, so that you can meet your response time SLA, and then arrive on the load number. Is it single server can handle 300 users, 400 users, 500 users, 1000 users? How many users a JVM can handle with an optimal usage of your thread, optimal usage of your heap? That is an exercise you have to do it when it comes to JVM benchmarking. Yeah, we'll look into it in detail when we go there after a week or two. Okay, yeah, I'll pass it here, guys. This is just a very high level view I wanted to give you from a thread topic. Any questions that you will have?
Hi Satish. Satish, you have installed
Tomcat on your machine, that is, and you're running Catalina, and you're running a Jmeter script. So, and Jmeter script on librarian application. So, I did not get the connection yet. So, this librarian application is being associated with Tomcat server.
See, the way it comes is you have the e-library application code in my Eclipse, right? From here, I generate a WAR file, application WAR file, and then I copy that WAR file. See, you have application WAR file that has to be deployed in a web server or in an app server, right? And you will have Tomcat or a JBoss or a WebLogic, any server in which you can go and place your WAR file. So in Tomcat, this is my Tomcat. There, if you remember yesterday, in the web apps folder, I have this e-library.war file. Right. Once I start the war over your Tomcat, when I say I will go and delete this two folders, I'll stop it. I'll delete this. Okay. So this e-library.war file is copied into this Tomcat folder. That is the first step of deploying your war file into your Tomcat. And then I come here, and then I go to
file is nothing but the application code, you mean to say?
Yeah, see, application code. This is my e-library application, right? Here,
right.
After doing the changes or after completing the code, developer will go and export into a jar, or it can be a var. Okay, so here I'm converting into a var. Okay, web archive file. Okay, and then I'm giving next, and then I'm giving the project name as e-library, and destination is this. Okay, and then I'm saying finish.
Okay, so then we will deploy this code into the application server, be it a Tomcat and WebSphere. What else you said?
It can be anything. It can be a JBoss. It can be a WebLogic. So it can be any server, your app server that you can use it. But deployment perspective, either it is going to be a WAR file or it can be a jar file. Okay. So the connection is you have Eclipse code. The developer will create a WAR file, and then this WAR will be copied into your web apps folder. And then when you start your Tomcat or your any server, that WAR file will be processed, okay, and there will be a folder created inside your web apps folder like this, which will have all your HTML files, all your class files. You can just assume that it is going to unzip this WAR file, and then it is going to place that everything into this folder.
Will this be the same concept of API? I mean, usually, we hit the API through the Jmeter and then monitor through AppDynamics or Grafana or Splunk or all those things to see the errors. So in that case, the API again, I have to take the API's jar and do the same thing. Will that differ or the same concept?
See, one thing is there are different activity. Right? One, your developer or your DevOps team or your server team will get the WAR file. See, in an enterprise, you might have your WAR file in some of the artifacts in JFrog or somewhere else, right? They'll get the WAR file. The role can be different. This role can be done by your developer or by your DevOps team, or even the performance engineer can do it, right? They'll get a WAR file, whoever it is, and they will copy it to the respective server, and they will start the server. It can be a web application, it can be microservices, whatever it is. Everything is going to be bundled. Your microservices will not have an HTML file. That's it. Your web application will have HTML file, but your microservices will not have an HTML file because it's a web services. But WAR is WAR, jar is jar. That is not going to change. Once you copy that microservices WAR or your web application WAR into Tomcat, and then when you're going to start it, you're going to get this folder, and in this folder you will get all your HTML files, plus if you go to web-inf, you go to classes, go to com, here, servlet, you'll get all the classes, which means your deployment is done. Your server has extracted the data from your WAR file and it has given you the folder. Now you can access the application from your Chrome. Right here, I go here and then say home. It gives me the page, and then I can log into the application and then log in. This is what you do it, right? From the script, from a Jmeter, you're hitting that URL instead of hitting it from Chrome. You're hitting it from Jmeter. It can again be your web application or your web services. You're going to simulate more load from the Jmeter. So this concept is not going to change whether it is a microservices or it is going to be a web application. Deployment will be, the WAR creation can be done by developer. Deployment can then be DevOps teams, or yourself also can deploy it and start the server. And you validate it, the URL through Chrome, and then you run it through script and monitor it through all these tools like JProfiler or JVisual. So that's a cycle which is common.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and as you said, now when you're showing these things on JVisual VM console, so are you going to cover how to do the configuration of JVisual VM console as well?
So
Because
JVisual VM does nothing. There's no configuration. Okay, you just need to download the Visual VM tool. See, the tools which I mentioned, right? JConsole, JVisual VM, or JProfiler. All these things are all. So in fact, JProfiler is a profiling tool. JVisual VM and your JConsole are more of your Java monitoring tool. Okay, so the download and installation is very straightforward. You just need to download it, and then something or your JProfiler you have to install it. But JVisual VM, in fact, there is no installation. If you go to the Visual VM, let me go to my folder. Seconds. DDev Visual VM. Yeah, it is a folder. Okay, if you go to the Visual VM, there will be a bin. There will be a Visual VM.exe. Okay, so there is no setup or configuration that is required at all. You just need to open it. Okay, from the setup perspective, in a real time, I would say, right? I'll talk about it when I go to JProfiler anyway. So the prerequisite is you go to have a couple of missions, right? You will not do anything on your workstation. Okay, because your workstation will have your mailbox, your chats, your teams, everything. You will need two missions for all your engineering activity. You need two missions. One missions, you will install all the tools like JProfiler, JConsole, your JVisual VM, and whatever tool that is required for your engineering activity. You will install it in the separate VM. Okay, because all these tools are going to be very intensive. You cannot use it properly in your workstation or in your laptop. So you need one mission. Second mission is where you're going to install your Tomcat and you're going to deploy the WAR file. So application which you're going to profile is going to be in the other mission. For engineering or profiling, you will not use a bigger environment like your performance environment or development environment or QA environment. You will have a dedicated mission in which you will have a dedicated single instance. We should have a complete control over that instance where you can change the configuration, you can restart, you can start, do whatever you want, take the logs. You should have a complete control over that mission. So okay, so your engineering activity, the prerequisite is you should have two missions. One is for your tools, another one is for your app server. Okay, so app server can be Linux or it can be a Windows. Okay, so when you have two missions, you have tools in one mission and you have your server in one mission. So all your monitoring activity will happen from the mission one. you'll open from the mission 1, you will open your JVisualVM or JConsole or JProfiler, and in the mission 2 you will have your Tomcat running. Okay, so with this setup is what you will operate. Okay, yeah, so that's how it happens in the real time. And that is a prerequisite you have to set up with your teams also. We cannot compromise on missions. You need dedicated missions for your engineering activity. So those prerequisites you have to tell to your teams, your project team, and get those missions and get the softwares before you start your engineering activity.
Yeah, but for our training, how we are going to do? Can we do it on the same machine? Can we have the application on?
Training, I'm going to do it in my mission, one mission only. You can also do it everything in your single mission, right? We cannot go for this setup for training. So if you see here in my mission, I have the application running. I have my visual VM running. I'll also have JProfiler here. Everything in single mission. But I'll tell you when you're going to connect with 2 missions, what additionally you will do it. I'll talk about it when we go for the each and every sessions. But for your training, you just need 1 mission, not more than 1.
Because in real time, when we actually have the JVisual VM, that will be on our machine, but application will be running on the different machine. So we need to do some port settings, right? Otherwise, we cannot monitor it. So that kind of configuration we have to cover in this topics.
Yes. That is where, if you see, I'll tell you that anyway. If you see my configuration file, right? Yesterday I told to comment few things. Okay, apart from the heap, okay, apart from the heap, you should also have this enabled. This is nothing but monitoring it remotely. Okay, you should in your Tomcat server, you should enable the remote monitoring. Okay, once you enable this remote monitoring, then from in the mission 2 you have your Tomcat running. In mission 1 you have your JConsole or Visual VM running. Once this is JMX remote is true, then through this port you can access the mission. Okay, I'll tell about that in detail when we go further. But to answer your question, this is a configuration you have to do it.
Satish, with this setup, where is this load balancer and individual node setup? I mean, like
That is
usually you have a load balancer with different nodes. You can hit individual nodes, balancer, and all those things.
This is a one single instance, right? What I'm showing it, it's a single instance. Okay. Similarly, when you go to load testing or your performance environment or production environment, you're going to have 10 such instances, 10 servers. And in the 11th server, you're going to have a load balancer. The load balancer is going to, obviously, round robin, it is going to send the load to these 10 different instances, right? That typical setup is going to be there for you in the performance environment. But when it comes to your engineering, we are going to deal with only one instance because we're going to do a code profiling and we're going to do a benchmarking, everything on a single instance. But in a larger scale, in your actual performance environment, yes, it's going to have 10 such servers. On top of that, you will have a load balancer. That's how any environment is going to work. But for our engineering activity, you no need load balancers, you no need 10 missions, you no need clustering, because we are going to look into the code optimization, how one single JVM is going to work. And even when you're going to do a load testing, and then we are going to take a heap dump or a thread dump, or we are going to analyze the GC, or we are going to do the monitoring. For us, it is all a black box, right? It is all. It will come down to AppDynamics. It is going to monitor all your 10 servers. Dynatrace is going to monitor all the 10 servers. So load balancer as such, from an engineering perspective, we have to see whether it is getting routed properly or not, whether all the 10 servers are getting load equally or not. In that perspective, you will validate the load balancing. But from a early engineering, load balancer will not come into picture.
Okay. So this is basically relating one node. I mean, one JVM instance is equal to one node, right? That's what we are.
Correct. Exactly.
Whatever we are doing right now, it is locally, Abhiram.
Yeah, locally, even
Yeah, this
even
is
in your project, when you're going to do it remotely as well, you will handle only one instance. That's why I said don't do all your engineering activity in the performance environment. There you will have multiple servers. You will not know who is accessing that machines, right? Somebody else might be eating it. So when you do a profiling, not only your request, other requests will also come there. Then you will not know which request belongs to you, which request belongs to others. So we have to have a dedicated instance for your profiling so that we'll have a complete control. We'll not have any ambiguity on who is hitting it, and we are doing only single user. We don't want even five user or 10 user load during your profiling. So it is always going to be one instance, one node, which you will be using it for your profiling. Yeah.
And of course,
So
Satish, one user
this is
profiling, yes.
I'm still not clear. Yeah, I'm still not clear. Is this the action activity done by SRE? Because I was not never involved in this kind of thing. We usually just go and hit the nodes and see how the nodes are behaving and all those things. But is this the setup done by the SRE in a company, or is it
so
done
when you
by
say
performance
setup,
engineer?
which setup you are referring to?
Sorry,
No. When you say setup, right? Which setup you are referring to?
I'm saying this one, like copying the jar and put in the Tomcat and
Okay.
all those things.
See,
That
so
part
that
is handled
that it
usually
depends,
by.
right? That it depends. Yeah, that it depends. Um, in some cases, it will be done by DevOps team. Some
Mm-hmm.
cases, it will be done by the development team itself. Sometime, in most of the places nowadays, you as a performance engineer, you can go and look into the artifact. The WAR file will be generated by your developer, and it will be stored in your artifactory. Okay, somewhere in the folder, SharePoint, you can assume. Okay, you as a performance engineer, you if you want to profile it, you go and retrieve the latest build from the artifactory, and then you can go and deploy it in your own profiling machine. The profiling machine is your own instance. Only you will have access. So which means you can go and ask your developer to give the link to the latest build. They will give the link to the latest build. You download and then copy it and then start the server for your profiling. For the QA environments, for the staging environment and all, it might be even automated, right? Nobody is going to, even creating a war file is automated. It will go and take the latest branch from your Git. It will create a war file. It will go and deploy it in your server. So that's what, as part of the build deployment, all these things are also automated in the Jenkins, right? So the reason I'm doing it all here is you wanted to know what is happening behind the scene, and so that you should, in case if it is required, you should be able to do it, or at least know what is happening behind the scene. So, and from project to project, these creating a war file deployment is going to change. You need to understand the build process, and it's not technical, it's more of a process, right? In your project, how a build is created, how is build is deployed, where the build is going to get stored, all these things as part of the process you need to get to know. What is in your hands, you should have a mission instance in your control where you can go and deploy this war file. From there, your work will start.
Okay.
Satish, as part of
Okay.
our so
Yeah.
you said whatever we are doing is we will be doing it with one, like the things will differ, right? When we do thread dump with one user or two users, or when we do the thread dump analysis with of a load test log, that will differ. So would you also add one topic? We'll run a small test and we'll see the thread dump and heap dump with a bigger user load. Then
No,
things
with the
will
bigger
differ.
load, it is not possible. But see, your point is right. Your thread dumps and heap dumps have to be taken only during the load test or stress test, right? But the
Yeah,
analysis is not going to change. What I'll do is in the Jmeter, I will run a small test with 2 user or 3 user or a 4 user, and we'll take a heap dump, and we'll
yeah,
also take the thread dump. Okay. and we will see how it is going to how we are going to analyze it. We'll do it. Yes, I'm not going to do a single user when it comes to thread dump or heap dump. It is going to be multiple user, but not 50, 100, 30, 200. It is going to be 3 or 4 users only.
Or at least
The
like
analysis part.
10 to 15 users, can we make like this?
No. See, the problem is the huge your heap is going to grow. It is going to be difficult for me to open even that file in my machine. Okay, and the analysis is not going to change. Okay, analysis part is still going to be same only. I'll try to see how far I can go, but I will not be able to guarantee you that. But analysis is not going to change, even if it is going to be a 5 user or a 10 user. Okay, your leak is leak. Your heap dump is going to tell you what are the leaks aspect. So we'll try to go as much as I can, and we can look into the logs.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah. Okay, fine. And we'll pass it here, guys. And once you register, give me your email ID. I will provide you the access so that next 2 days you can go and set up your missions.
Sure.
Okay.
And one more question.
Thank you.
So one more question,
Yeah.
Satish. Wrap up. So when we're talking about performance engineering here, but with respect to performance testing, is it like similar, or like is some other actions we need to do? Like basically, performance testing is including load testing and all those things to see whether how the system is behaving and all those things, right?
Yeah, correct.
So performance engineering is something which we have to do before even starting the testing, right? To see whether how the system is configured and all those things, whether the practice is good and all those things, right?
Testing engineering is, as you said, it has to be done before to make sure that even for a single user, how is your performance? Is it a problem with your method? Is it a problem with your object? To optimize your response time, to optimize your memory, to have a proper configuration of your JVM, and then during a load test, performance testing will just do execution and maybe do a basic monitoring. Here, to do a deep dive diagnostics, if there's a problem, to take a heap dump, thread dump, GC analysis, DB analysis, all these things are part of your engineering. So engineering is a superset. Performance testing is probably a subset.
Okay.
Yeah. What we can do, if you I could understand that you might be a little bit new to this area, or probably having less experience, right? You can probably reach out to me today or tomorrow. We can have a probably discuss. I will try to understand what you're currently doing it. Whether this course is for you or not, I can probably advise you.
Sure. So what type?
So this one more question. As part of this course, are we going to cover this AppDynamics installation as well? Not only
See,
focus on
AppDynamics installation, right? There are 2 parts: AppDynamics installation, configuration, and usage. Installation of any tools, be it Performance Center or Dynatrace, AppDynamics is a complex job. Okay, it requires a lot of experience, or you should know about the installation. Usually, it is done by the AppDynamics team itself, or there are experts. As a performance engineer, you will not install it, you will configure. Maximum what you will do is you will configure. Okay, so in the course, I'll tell you how to configure the AppDynamics with your Java application, how to configure a Java agent in your application server, and how to connect to your AppDynamics server. Even that configuration will be done by the AppDynamics admin only most of the time. But since we are going to have our own instance, I'll tell you how to configure the Java agent with your application server, and then how to monitor it, how to use all the functionalities of AppDynamics to do a monitoring, deep dive diagnostics, setting up these alerts. All these things we will look into it, but not the AppDynamics installation itself.
All right. One more question.
You will not do the job as a performance tester or engineer. You will not go and install the AppDynamics or Dynatrace. That's an administrative work.
Understood. One more question. So, I have seen only the Java application is involved. So, is there any .NET application that also we are going to cover?
Yeah,
as
see,
part of this?
yeah, basically this is a Java performance engineering. Okay, we have tailored it for Java. It's going to go over say 18, 20, 22 hours. Okay, obviously we cannot bring in too many technologies like Python or Node.js or .NET, but we have to start
Okay.
somewhere from engineering, right? And Java is the best place to start with, because in any enterprise you will definitely have a Java component. Okay, once you understand the way you do this profiling, the concepts of CPU analysis, profiling, and all these things, right? You just need to extend that to other programming languages. Each might have its own way of handling the memory. There might be different tools, but conceptually you should be able to scale up. Okay, so yes, this course is tailored for Java performance engineering, and um, for any other framework technology. Once you get stronger in one area, you can pretty much scale it up. Nobody will be able to learn every other programming languages and then the associated performance engineering, right? So yeah, the answer is definitely yeah. It is only for Java performance engineering, and
All right.
the reason is also is you should be able to scale up. Once you get confidence in this, you should be able to scale up to other things on yourself. And definitely we cannot go and include every other technology or framework with this kind of a tailored course. Those are the two answers to it.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Any other questions? We can connect offline as well, guys, or post it in the group. I will have a hard stop at 8 every day because I need to take my kids to the school. Okay. Any questions? We can probably take it over in the next day also. If you have still questions are there, right? In the next session morning, we can take up the questions and then go to the sessions.
Yeah. Okay,
Do
Satish.
we have a session tomorrow?
No, tomorrow no, we will not have it.
All right.
It will be on Monday.
Okay.
Satish, can
Yeah,
I call you now or later? When is the good time for you to talk?
yeah. Just ping me in the WhatsApp in the daytime. I don't know whether you're
Okay.
in US or India. Um,
US.
yeah, then probably in your morning time we can connect, or maybe tomorrow, Saturday also we can connect.
Okay.
You just drop me. I'll also tell my availability. If you're available, we can connect.
Sure. No problem. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Sure, Satish. Thank you.